to Ethan Live today, Thursday, August the 7th. A little deja vu there. We had something going on earlier today. We are continuing our series with the semifinalists in the Hero Dog Awards. Voting is open now to September 15th, so make sure you go to AmericanHumane.org. You can vote once a day. You can vote for one dog in each category. Don't just vote for one dog. Go to each category. No. Vote for a dog in each category. Today, we are happy to be to have Mark and semifinals Hero Dog Jager here today. Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How's everybody doing?
We're doing good. Tell everyone
awesome.
Real quick, like what part of the country you guys are in.
So, did you ever see Jersey Shore on TV?
Oh yeah,
that's where we are.
Oh, okay.
You know, we've the last week we've run into several dogs from New Jersey. We did a podcast with Cole, who was a therapy winner in 2022, and he's from New Jersey. Cole the deaf dog. They do some really cool things up in New Jersey. Before we jump into all the cool story with Jager and what you guys are doing, can you give everybody a little bit of background of what you were doing before Jager came around and sort of what your life was like before that happened leading up to getting him?
Yeah, sure. So I was a police officer for 25 years. I retired after 25 years and 1 month in May of 2024. For 23 of those 25 years, I worked midnights. And I had, when I began, my daughters were small. Obviously, they were little. And my wife and my daughters would be home alone every night. So I started looking into, I want a big dog, right? I want a big dog that's going to be a family dog. But also, if somebody looked in the window, they'll be like, yeah, I'll go down the street to the next house. I'm not going to mess with this one. But one that my kids could lay on the floor and watch a TV show with at the same time. So we always had Dog de Bordeaux, the French Mastiffs, and the Turner and Hooch dogs. So we always had those. And after our last one passed away, he showed a lot of great qualities. People gravitated towards him. He had this presence and this demeanor about him that was just amazing. And I thought, hey man, he would be an amazing therapy dog, But I was still a police officer. My kids were involved in their sports and their activities, and I never would have had time. So when Kobe passed, I started researching for a new breeder because our breeder wasn't breeding anymore. And I came across this video of these dogs, and I said, wow, what is that? And turns out it was the Borbal. And for about a year and a half, I researched the Borbal and couldn't find one anywhere, really. And then we ended up getting lucky and hooking up with a breeder. We met Jager's parents. We met him before he was even born. And then we brought him home, and he started to show a lot of those same qualities that Kobe had. And I said, man, you know what? I'm about a year away from retirement, year and a half away. This would be a really cool way to keep me engaged, to keep me busy, and to still help. Because, first responders are helpers, and you retire and all of a sudden you're not anymore.
Not doing anything, yeah.
Right. So I was like, this is going to be really cool. Family pet. It checked all the boxes. And I retired, and I couldn't imagine how busy Jager and I would be. I've never, 25 years as a police officer, I never kept a calendar, and now I'm like a calendar here and there. So, but it's been
their own social calendar.
Yeah. And I run into people. It happens time and time again. I'll meet people or get introduced to people outside of Jager's presence, and they'll say, "Oh, right, Jager. I've met him, but I've never met you." I don't know how he doesn't just wander.
Right.
I was there.
Right. It's kind of funny.
I'm the dumb end of the leash. I'm this Uber driver, whatever. All the descriptors come out.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny. I was telling Debbie the other day, we went to a park that we don't normally go to, and we were just walking, and it's a path that goes through the woods, and we must have passed 5 or 6 people, and as we passed each person, a lot of times you say, hey, how you doing? Good morning, whatever. They all said, hey, Ethan, how you doing? Yeah. And they just kept on going. And I'm like, he knows all the people in the park. I don't know anybody.
Here he is.
There he is. Look at him.
There he is. Thank you. He's like, what's going on? We went to an event once. We went to a big event once, and inside this event, we had some time to roam free, but we had some places we were dedicated to at certain times. And it got so crazy, I couldn't walk 10 feet that security took us through the hallways, like the back hallways of the building, to get us from point A to point B. And again, I am fully aware it is not me. It is him. No, I know where I stand.
Isn't it cool how dogs can just, open up a connection with people that might not normally stop to say anything.
Right. And it is unbelievable, because I think having the dog, first of all, it takes us out of our phones and all those conversations we miss in public when we're buried in our phones. But the dog, there's no barriers. And he seamlessly blends from one situation, one group of people to the next. Like he just goes, and people call us to do things, and I have a hard time saying no. So that has a lot to do with my calendar.
That sounds like somebody I know too.
Well, all of us, because I feel like even when it doesn't work, it's like I'm like it's gonna affect those people, are gonna miss out. I don't like to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they make such a wonderful impact. So you get Jager, and he is a Boer, and that's an African Mastiff.
South African Mastiff.
African Mastiff. And so it sounds like you sort of got him with the thought of, dependent upon his personality, maybe this could work for a therapy dog. But then as he starts getting older, you start seeing some qualities in him that you think, hey, I could do something more with this. So
to be perfectly honest, when he was available, for the amount of money that he cost, it was like, oh man, like they're right there in my grasp, but we just don't have, the funds to do it right now. And my wife started crying, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? And she's like, I have the money. And it was coming up on my 50th birthday. And I'm like, what do you mean? She was saving money to take her, and my daughters are 25 and 23. And we were going to go, she wanted to take us all four of us to Nashville.
Oh,
because we'd never been. So she's like, I have the money. It was your Nashville trip. She's like, but if you want to buy the dog, let's get the dog. And yeah, I still haven't been to Nashville.
that's okay.
So I didn't. He was just meant to be a pet. He was just meant to be a pet. Okay. And as we had him, he started showing a lot of the same tendencies, being a related breed to the French Mastiff. And I was like, on my own time, I was like, let me just, every time after work at night, I would go and do the training. And he went once and he did good, and we went twice and he did good again. And before we knew it, we were off and running and certified through Alliance of Therapy Dogs as a certified therapy dog.
Wow,
that's cool. And so how did you get hooked up with the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office? How did that relationship start?
So that's a still evolving process every day, because they never had a dog like this. So what happened was, my police department was located in Ocean County. The last year and a half of my career, I was on loan to the Special Offenders Unit of the Prosecutor's Office. What they do is we do the Veterans Diversion Program, the Mental Health Diversion Program, community outreach, and wellness for all the law enforcement in the county. We've expanded it to law enforcement and first responders in the county. So that's when I was taking my own time to go and train Jager. We completed our training in September of 23, and in the end of October 23 is when we had the terrible incident in Lewiston, Maine, the mass shooting in Lewiston, Maine, where 18 people were killed in that community. And that was our first crisis deployment, was to Lewiston, Maine. And that was on a volunteer basis with crisis response canines out of New Jersey. So we spent almost 6 days in Lewiston, Maine, visiting the community, attending funerals, visiting victims in hospital, just being out in the community, seeing, survivors. And when something of that magnitude happens, it affects everyone. So when I got back, the prosecutor heard where I was and what Jager and I were doing. He's like, man, I would like to hear more about that. So we talked a little bit about it, and Jager and I began going to community outreaches, fun stuff, right? Like we started going to fun stuff out in the public, and everybody loved them. And then somebody at the outreach was like, we have an event next week. Can you come? We have an event next month. We want you there. So he just really started getting super busy. But then I retired, and people were still calling the unit asking for Jaeger for events, and they were being told no, like he's retired.
Tired.
And my sergeant would call me, and I'll be like, man, just give me the information, I'll go, because I don't want to disappoint people that had them already. So we kind of did that, but then it started to become overwhelming, and the prosecutor reached out to me himself and was like, hey, we want you guys to come back. Like, would you be interested? What capacity? So it kind of became like almost a free agent negotiation, if you will. And we've come back now to the prosecutor's office.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's very, what do you think? What do you think about him allows him to connect to like trauma survivors and first responders and allowed to sort of bridge that gap there?
Well, it's just something that I think most dogs can do, right? Most dogs have that instinct when someone's upset, just like someone with a seizure disorder or blood pressure. They have those dogs in the system because the dogs read them from the inside out, and all dogs do it, but they're not trained to alert to it, right? So he just has this. He has this face that, I mean, you couldn't even show it on this computer. Like, you guys saw him stick it in there, his big head, but his eyes, and he has a way of making yeah, that's it. That's one of them. But he looks at people and he makes eye contact. And one thing that happens very often in crisis situations is people walk in and they see him and they start crying. People start crying and turn around and walk out of the room and compose themselves and come apologize to me. And, I've learned to be comfortable with people crying because emotional tears carry stress hormones. And if someone's crying, they're letting that out, and you have to let them get it out.
Right.
And then we'll talk. And I tell them, don't apologize. But he is 180 pounds. So when he comes over to a person who's going through a crisis, grief, whatever emotional instability it is, and he leans on you, he's there.
Yeah, you feel that.
Yeah. And they feel protected. Now, when people announce that a therapy dog's coming and Jaeger walks in the room, there's a little bit of like, wait, what?
Whoa.
Yeah. What is that? But he just, it's not just first responders. Like, I do that for work and everything, but we go to veteran support group meetings, and one of his big strengths is I would say versatility, if that even really applies, because he can go to, last week we went to a local library and where there's a coloring with crayons with cops event. So you have the picture of the little kids laying on them and hugging them and stuff like that. And then we can get a phone call and go to a crisis situation where officers might have went through something. So he can transition from one thing to the next. We've done, I have a certificate in addiction studies as well. So we'll go to, meetings like that and trauma meetings. So while obviously the first responders, law enforcement, military, everything is important, he goes out in public, and the events he does aren't limited to just that. Now, that picture is in Charlotte Mecklenburg PD in Charlotte, North Carolina. In May of 24, there was 8 police officers shot and 4 were killed. And this is when we were down there visiting, and we went to the Charlotte PD CSI unit just to visit, and he laid down on the floor, and this is one of the CSI techs that decided to lay on the floor with him for about 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's cool. I was going to ask you about that, your deployment down there to North Carolina for that awful, terrible situation down there.
Well, the way that started is we went to there's a big shopping plaza in Charlotte. I'd never been there, and it was a huge shopping plaza, and we were walking around. There was 5 dogs in our group, and everyone wanted to say hi to all the dogs, and they were like, oh, where are you guys from? We said, we're from New Jersey. Oh, and they said, oh, you guys are down here for the police officers. And I said, yeah, we're down here for the police officers, but we're also here for the community because, when 8 police officers are shot and 4 are killed, like that affects everyone.
Yeah, there's a ripple effect.
Yeah, we're not just here for the first responders. We're here for the entire community.
Right. Wow. Amazing.
That work is, just something about those dogs that do that therapy work and understand.
Yeah.
And they either shy away from it or they lean into it, and you find that out during training. And you know, like he can walk in a room and someone can walk in and just be like, look at me surprised, like I literally feel better already. And I know all the dogs in the category, and even the ones that the owners took time to nominate but didn't get this far, they all do that. They all do
that.
It's such an amazing thing that dogs can. They're so much, in some ways, they're so much further along than we are. That they can just kind of be in a room and recognize what different people need from them, whether they might need a little space or they need some comfort or they want somebody to lay next to them. It's just really, really cool thing to watch.
We visited a freshman high school class, and I walked in and I kept him on lead, and I was explaining to all the kids, like, first of all, my first question, is anyone afraid? Is anyone allergic? If they are, I'll keep them with me. And there was a little girl off in the corner. It was a freshman high school, so not a little girl, but she was off in the corner and sitting there, had her back to the class, and was kind of like this with her head down. And I thought maybe she was in trouble. I didn't really, you know, the teacher didn't say anything. So I did a little, you know, introduction with everyone else, and the entire class got up to come see him. And I took his lead off, and he forced his way through everybody to her and stuck his head in between, you know, on her lap and nudged her to sit up, and she started petting him. Then he turned around and sat at her feet, and everybody came to him and to her. And I turned around, the teacher was crying, and I was like, oh, I have to keep, you know, he's my responsibility. Like, but let me go check on her. And I gave her some tissues, and she said, you don't understand. She lost her grandfather yesterday, and she's been sitting there, and she's like, and he knew. And I was like, yeah, you know, that's what they do, you know. And
things are incredible.
And you could ask any of the therapy handlers, the first time you see something like that, you're like, all right, good job. I got lucky with that one. But it's not getting lucky. They do the same thing.
They do it all the time.
Right?
Yeah. That's such amazing work. So you got him. You're working. You have this ongoing thing with the prosecutor's office, and you're doing the therapy work. So tell everybody how you hear about Hero Dog Awards and what sort of brought you to American Humane.
Well, like I said, it's something that I've seen before. It's come across the TV before, and I've watched it on TV. I've seen in social media the different things, and talk shows, you know. I always forget that I think Penny is one I saw a lot, right? And I read the story and stuff, and then you look into it more. And then again, the National Police Dog Foundation brought it up to me, because I just never, not that everyone in this contest is not busy, everyone is. And I never, everyone, and I just never thought, my dog? Nah. And then National Police Dog Foundation, who sees a lot of dogs, obviously, they're like, no, you should just give it a try. Give it a try. It's something fun. You have a lot of good things to say, a lot of good things to write down. And I did it. And I honestly didn't think much of it after I submitted the nomination until I got that email. You know, I've won one contest for some football tickets once in my life, and when they called, I like hung up on them the first time. They called me, and they had to call me back and be like, no, I was like, come on, I didn't know who it was. I was like, this is my friends messing with me, you know. And it was kind of that feeling again.
Oh, this is a little bigger than the football ticket.
A little bit bigger, you know. And the funny thing about it, and I don't want to forget, because I'll answer another question and forget, but you guys mentioned earlier how you spoke with a couple dogs from New Jersey. So I was going through the other categories to cast my votes in the other categories, and I came across Fancy in the military category. And Fancy is from Barnegat Township, our hometown. And I was blown away by that. And I was like, there's a lot of states that don't have a single dog.
Right.
And Barnegat Township has 2 in the top 25.
Yeah.
So the town's really leaning into it. You know, they're really, the county had us at a county meeting last night. And,
wow.
And, I mean, it's
celebrities.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And her, you know, her story is amazing. She's a highly decorated, you know, retired military working dog with a disabled vet, you know, for a father or owner, other person. And to me, every time I think about it, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of states that don't have one dog, and Barnegat Township has 2.
Yeah. That's incredible.
2 in 1 year. And
2 in 1 year.
on the side, if you have their contact information, I'd love to get it. I'm still trying to get a hold of them. I'd love to be able to have them on video.
It's like they've disappeared. Barnegat, I've never heard of them before. I've lived in Barnegat Township for 47 years. I've never come across. We're a small town, getting bigger, but I've never come across them. I do the veteran stuff. I go to the VFW or the American Legion. I have friends that are highly involved in that, and they know what Jager and I do. And I've never heard Fancy's name. And then, now there's a reporter trying to find them and contact them. And I'm just like, and I put a Facebook post out like, help me find Fancy. I don't think they'll be found.
Where is Fancy?
Yeah. It's like, where's Waldo? But insert Fancy.
Well,
somewhere in New Jersey.
I have people probably get tired of me saying it, but what has been created was I think what was started. Dr. Robin and Naomi Judd and Betty White got together and they wanted to create this Oscars for dogs, to have this award show for dogs. But what they really created was this incredible community and really a highlight to show there's so many dogs across the country and there are people doing amazing stuff and doing some great work for whether they're military dogs or therapy dogs or service dogs. They're just doing some incredible stuff, and it's just a wonderful outlet to highlight all of these people.
Well, you nailed it right there, because like I think I said to you, we spoke, and when I said that I already feel like a winner is like, because this community is just amazing, and I feel like moving on or not, to this, we're part of that community now, and we can lean on that and support each other and learn from each other. And it just gets bigger. And I had a friend say to me, I never heard of the Hero Dog Awards, but I found out Betty White was involved, so I knew it was legit.
Well, there you go.
It's definitely legit.
You can't argue with that.
No, you can't argue with Betty White. And,
no.
Another interesting thing that and you hear Dr. Robin say it all the time, being around her, many times over the last few years. And as the owner and the person of the dog, you never think this way, but you think this way about all the other dogs. And she makes a very good point that heroes on both sides of the leash. Mm-hmm. And as you think, well, I'm not a hero, my dog's a hero, but all these other people are hero. So, what a wonderful tribute to you and the work that you're doing, because, while Jager has this incredible ability to connect with folks, he can't drive the car. He can't post on social media. He can't do all that stuff. So, great job to you for following through with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much. And I'll say, like, a lot of people like to say, like, when they see nervous dogs and they see nervous owners out in settings, they say, hey, listen, you're sending that energy right down the leash, like making that dog nervous. But I think it's the same in the other way, too, for all these people that have these great dogs, they're sending that positive energy down the leash. And it results in what you see in all. Again, not just the 25 finalists, but everyone who took the time to nominate.
Right. People ask me all the time, did you train him? Did you train Ethan? And I'll say the only thing he got from me was patience. Like nothing. I don't really get too upset about anything, and realizing things are going to take. As you probably know, a trip to Home Depot now is not just a 20-minute trip to Home Depot. It turns into an hour and 20-minute trip to Home Depot. And so, just you're right. The energy that you put off, your dog, especially when it's your dog, really picks up on that.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's not just any therapy dog can do crisis response, because when you get in those settings and someone who's not prepared for it is starting to wear that stuff emotionally too, and they're feeling it, and then again you send it down to them, and it's really hard. But again, his favorite thing, if he sees a baby stroller, forget it. Watch out. He's going, because he wants to head in there and kiss that baby. Every now and then, though, it's a little, maybe a Maltese or something, and they trick him, and he gets back. But he loves the kids. He loves the adults. It's from one end of the spectrum to the other. He just amazes me every day.
Yeah. What's he like to do at home?
So right now he's laying on the pavers on the outside. I'm outside in my little gazebo set up out here because it's a beautiful night here in New Jersey. We have two other dogs at home. We have Nitro, who is a 7-year-old. He's 50% American Staffordshire Terrier and 50% American Bulldog. He's about 90 pounds. So the two of them like to tear up my grass and my shrubs and run through everything. But then we have the boss, who is Panda. and she's an 11-year-old, 25-pound French bulldog, and she runs the show.
The pack, huh?
Runs it. She is. There is no question. She is in charge of everything, you know. And if these two start playing too rough, she'll go over and be like, "All right, calm down, enough of that."
Wow.
You know, and they kind of go their separate ways, and that's it.
Sounds
But yeah,
like
no, he loves to sleep. Popular question I get when we go places, people like to say, "Oh my God, do you let him sleep in bed with you?" And I'm like, "No." They're like, "You don't?" I'm like, "He lets me sleep in bed with him."
Yeah.
Usually how it goes.
Right. He sleeps wherever he wants to sleep.
Well,
I just try to fit in a little bit.
They say, "Where does he sleep?" Wherever he wants.
All right. So you get into Hero Dog Awards, and you know, so you're, I think as we were talking earlier, we were sort of laughing about it. You know, very social media savvy, and so you got to start this social media. And your daughter was asking you about different things. So talk to people about where they can about starting social media. Number one, because how weird is it to have social media for your dog? I mean, we went through some of that, but about starting social media and where people can find you and what you guys are doing out there.
Sure. So we have Instagram that's kind of established. That's the one my daughters say I'm terrible at. You can see everything on there from his puppy baby pictures. Before there's a picture of my wife holding him and 3 other puppies from the litter before we had even picked. Through most of our travels. A lot of our stuff doesn't make social media. You know, when I talk to people about the things that we do, when we do a presentation, they're like, "Wow, you know, you guys are around some heavy stuff. Like, we had no idea you did that." And I'm like, "Well, that's because it doesn't make it to social media. That stuff's not intended for that kind of platform." But he is on Instagram. He is Jagerbomb, JAGERBOMB _ Borbel, BOERBOEL. So Jagerbomb _ Borbel on Instagram.
Okay.
And on Facebook, again, brand new on Facebook, but it's just Jagerbomb the Borbel on Facebook. So it usually comes right up if you put that stuff in there.
That's very cool. And that's one of the reasons why, at least to me, because you know, I continue to go back and stay in touch because the stories and the people are what I really enjoy, and it's why we were doing this. And as you say, there's a lot of work that you guys do that is not made for publicity or not made to be out there,
right?
But yet it's still important stuff for people to hear and know that you're doing.
Sure. Yeah. And that's why, like, I'm teaching a class, I'm a crisis intervention instructor. So the class is healthcare professionals and law enforcement. And we taught today, and today was the day to do Jaeger's PowerPoint presentation and have him with the class and everything. And again, it's the same thing. A lot of them don't realize, and they don't realize the support that Ocean County gives us, because there's Hudson County and Bergen County who are way up the north end of the state, and they've had some really bad situations lately, and they'll call me, you know, right away and say, "Hey, do you think you and Jaeger can come up?" And my office fully supports anything we can do, because none of the other, there's 21 counties in the state. None of them have a dog that does what Jaeger does. So we travel, and our office fully supports, is fully supportive of that.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Well, that's amazing stuff that you're doing. Tell us a few things, if you can think of it, that you want folks to know about Jaeger that you maybe weren't able to put into the bio on American Humane. Some of the cool, kind of goofy or fun things that he likes to do, or some of his personality.
So Jaeger, he lays down a lot. He likes to promote relaxation, like actively promote it, right? So people will say, like, "Why is he, you know, is that what he does?" But in those crisis situations, I've seen time and time again, people don't pet him. People lean down next to him or sit down next to him, and they just put their hand on him. And the first time I saw it, I didn't think much of it. But as I went to crisis situations over and over again, or even with grief, it doesn't have to be a big crisis situation. It could be someone lost a loved one. Someone lost their dog previously, and now they're seeing Jaeger, and they ground themselves through them by just putting putting a hand on there. Yeah, that big mush.
Look at that face right there.
Yeah, that's his couch, by the way. I don't know what sits on it. It's in the front of the house. He can look right out the window.
That sounds like Ethan.
Oh, so this one's fantastic. So the story behind this is really how this all came to be for us, is because this high school sophomore right here, her name is Lauren, and she is amazing. She runs for an organization called Running for Heroes. Whenever a law enforcement, first responder, firefighter, canine, military, or police passes away in her hometown, which is about a half hour away from us, she runs a mile in their honor. And what she does is she carries a flag and she carries a picture of that canine or that first responder, and she carries the flag and the picture for the whole mile. The local police department follows her. The Ocean County Sheriff's Department follows her. I go up in his support as often as I can. And after the mile, her mother videos a tribute to this officer and his family, like explains what happens, offers a tribute to them, and then they post it, send it, and they send the picture and everything from the run to the family. So we try and get out there and support Lauren and her mom, who the things that they do are unbelievable. Sometimes we're not around to go support the runs, but we try and get there as often as we can. She's always got lots of support, but I think she's on, if I'm not mistaken, she is on her 113th mile. She's done it 113 times.
Goodness.
She
Incredible.
also does a fundraiser where every year for her birthday, she doesn't ask for gifts. She doesn't ask for presents. She asks for money. And whatever money she gets, she takes that and goes to another organization, and she buys as many canine first aid kits as she can with her birthday money, and then donates them to different canines throughout the state and even across the country.
Oh, incredible young.
That's what an amazing young person. What a great.
You're going to hear big things. You're going to hear big things from her, no doubt. She is.
Look at
That's a good picture. It's a good picture right there. I like that.
That was a trip to the state police barracks in North Jersey, and we were with our good friend Gunnar, the boxer from the New Jersey State Police, and his owner Tara, who are our sidekicks. We kind of do everything together. And if I can't go somewhere, they stand in for us. And this was I'm not going to lie, the official state police photographer. So it's a little bit of cheating.
That's really good. Now, Jaeger called me ahead of time and said he might be a little bit embarrassed about this one here. He's being weighed is this the airport he's being weighed at?
So this is, so about a month and a half ago, Jaeger and I were involved in a pretty tough training class. It was a United States Police Canine Association canine therapy class. And Jaeger got his canine good citizen, canine community good citizen, urban canine good citizen, and he passed his AKC temperament test. But most important of all, he passed the USPCA canine therapy certification. So we're really proud. But yes, this was our trip to Atlantic City International Airport. And we took the dogs through everything as if they were getting on a plane and going. And everybody thought it would be funny to put them on a baggage scale. And you can't see it, but if you zoom in, it says 99 pounds, and only half of them is on the scale.
Yeah.
The other part I like about it is, of course, he's laying down. It's perfect.
Yeah, well, yeah. And the gentleman behind him, the attendant behind him, he looked at the digital readout. He said, "Man, this one's going to cost you." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna leave it home."
Over poundage there.
There's another good one there.
Yes. So this is Jaeger and I. We go on a regular basis. There's an organization called Hope in Her Eyes, and it's an equine therapy farm here in New Jersey, owned by an amazing woman named Amy, and she does Draper sensor therapy for autistic kids with some of her horses. But this is Jaeger's buddy Teddy, the mini horse. He is a therapy mini horse, and we had an event, and we had about 8 therapy dogs at the event and 3 therapy ponies at the event. At her farm, a few times a year, the New York City Police Department will bring down van loads of inner city youth to have a day on the farm, riding horses, barbecuing, making s'mores, playing football. And she always invites Jaeger and I to be a part of that. So we get to go out and see the youth from New York City as well.
Oh,
that's
wow.
Cool. And I love that look on Jaeger's face right there.
Well, the picture before that, Jaeger's looking like at the camera, but Teddy's got his nose in Jaeger's ear. So this picture was like, Teddy, come on.
Yeah, back off.
I'm trying to take a picture.
Like
Oh.
Tractor Supply. Tractor Supply is where he
there's
gets his gas.
Jaeger the Jedi Knight right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Jaeger the reluctant bath taker.
oh, okay.
He's like,
I
Dad,
love,
don't post this
love these
anywhere.
photos, yeah.
Oh, that's a really good picture too.
That's an important. Are Debbie? Do you know who that is?
His face looks very familiar.
It's Kyle It's Kyle Carpenter. He's the youngest Congressional Medal of Honor winner.
Okay.
Oh,
Right. So he was given his Congressional Medal of Honor by President Obama, and he came and did a talk in our town and wanted to meet Jaeger afterwards.
Oh, how exciting! For
Yeah,
you.
very exciting. Very exciting.
Oh, that's great.
That's very
Yes.
cool.
Oh,
This is also at the funeral of Officer Joshua Iyer from the Charlotte Mecklenburg PD. This was the day of the funeral, and that is a Dallas, Texas police officer who came to North Carolina to pay his respects and said, "I can't go back to Dallas without a picture of Jaeger. Do you mind?" And I said, "Not at all."
Yeah,
no.
that's very cool. And then let's see, we got Cartoon Jaeger.
Yeah, Cartoon Jaeger is pretty cool. The kids love that. I'm trying to come up with a coloring book for the kids, but add it to the agenda. But so he has a baseball card, and that is the cartoon version of his baseball card that we hand out when we go to outreach events and things like that.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
It's really not far off.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Well, I like to give folks, so Hero Dog Awards recognizes so many wonderful people. And as you say, even the people that didn't make the semifinals have some wonderful stories. But it is a voting contest. And so I like to give folks, one last chance to say, hey, all these dogs are wonderful, but here's a few reasons why you might want to consider voting for Jaeger.
So I think I said it earlier. It's Jaeger's not a stay in his lane kind of person. I think his versatility and his ability to seamlessly blend from one event to the next is remarkable to me. And like I said it already, he could be at a Cops and Crowns event and then go to a veterans support group meeting that night. He can get up in the middle of the night, and we've done it before. We'll be sleeping, and if I say, "Hey, buddy, it's time to go to work," he gets up off the couch and he goes and sits in the kitchen until it's time to walk out the door. I think his ability to reach school children all the way up through first responders, to connect the public to first responders if there's a bridge there, and be able to connect people back to themselves, after going through a crisis situation. Because I think that's the hardest thing that all of these dogs can do is, we're not going to heal you after you go through something like that. We're going to give you the ability to begin healing and get you hooked up with the people that can do that professionally.
Yeah.
That's very cool. And so the Hero Dog Awards, voting is right now through September the 15th. Again, you can go to AmericanHumane.org. You can vote once a day in each category. The therapy category is such an important one. They do such amazing work. Make sure to go there. Vote for your favorite story there. And, it's just an amazing, you guys just have an amazing story that you should be extremely proud of, and can't wait to see what you guys do next.
Yeah, we are so incredibly honored to be a part of it, part of this community. We're going to continue to put our votes in all the categories, and we're going to enjoy this ride as it goes.
Yeah, where it takes you.
Well,
that's exactly right.
Mark, thank you so much for joining us today, and hopefully we'll catch you up in the future.
Thank you, guys. And if I can do anything for anybody, please reach out. And find Fancy.
Sure. Yes.
Find Fancy.
Find Fancy.
Thank you so much, Mark. We appreciate it.
Take care.
Bye,
Thank you.
Bye, Jaeger.
Thank you.